will be what we will be doing first, or that's the parameter that we should find first. So what's our n for this problem, for this sample set? Where's my cursor? It's missing. What's your n for this problem? N equal to n is equal to ilan? How many?
Total po ng engineer tsaka po total ng people.
Total ng
Ay, opo, total po ng engineers tapos total po ng people.
Ayun, total ng engineers, total ng scientists na male and female. So ilan lahat-lahat yan?
1,100 po over 2,000.
Yun, so your n is 2,000. So yun lang muna, no? Yung n yung 2,000. Pero yung sagot natin na 1 over 2,000, that's correct. So saan nang galing yung 2,000? Where did 2,000 came from? So you just have to add up all this given to have your n, or your total number of possible outcomes. So your denominator for your probability would be 2,000. And then we're looking for an engineer. So the total number of engineer is 620 plus 480. That's 1,100. So 1,100 over 2,000, that's 11 over 20. Understood? Clear? Okay.
Yes po.
Next, a male. How about a male? The probability that the person selected at random is a male. Answer? So your denominator would still be 2,000. So what's your numerator? Yung 1115 over 2,000. 1115 because we'll just have to add the number of male scientist and male engineer, because we're looking for the probability that the person that you will select at random is a male. So 495 plus 620, that's 1,115 over 2,000. So 1,115 divided by 2,000 or over 2,000 is 223 over 400. Next. So for letter C, let's write it here. So the probability of S given F. So we're finding for the probability that a person is a scientist. Is ito? This one, the probability that a person is a scientist given that she is a female. So what's your numerator? 405, correct. So you're female scientist. So your numerator should be the person is a female and she is a scientist. So that's 405. How about the denominator? So that's 405 over 2,000. How about the denominator? What would be your denominator? 885, correct. So the probability that that person is a female. So you have 885. Where did 885 come from? That's 405. 405 plus 480, a total of 885. So the probability that the person is a female is 885 over 2,000. Then, dividing the probabilities, you'll have the answer 405 over 885. Or, in lowest term, that's 27 over 59. Yun, there you have it. Excuse. Alright, next. Ayan, so that's conditional probability. We have already discussed that from the previous week naman. Let's proceed with discrete probability distribution. So for discrete probability distribution, so here in our presentation, that's the summary of what's written on your module. If you wish to read on your module, that's better. So you have additional information since the one that's in your module is more more detailed and has a lot of information than my presentation because I have just the outline. So please read what's written in your module as part of your review so that you can have an additional knowledge and additional reference aside from my presentation. So for discrete probability distribution, a discrete probability distribution describes the probability of outcomes for a discrete random variable where outcomes are countable. So our keyword for discrete probability distribution is the word countable. So what are the key characteristics of discrete probability distribution? You have first, a discrete random variable takes a finite or countably infinite set of values. And then, the probabilities of all possible outcomes must sum to 1 or must be equal to 1. So later on, we will be having an example where we will be finding the values of your random variable. And the values of your random variable will each be having their respective probabilities. Adding the probabilities, the answer should be equal to 1. For example, a rolling 6-sided die. So, rolling a fair die, the outcomes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we all know that the outcome of each or the probability of each outcome is 1 over 6. Which means that the probability of having 1 when you roll a die is 1 over 6. The probability of 2 when you roll a die is 1 over 6. And that goes the same for 3, 4, 5, and 6. Which means that there is an equal chance of rolling any of these 6 numbers. So, why is this an example of a discrete probability distribution? Because your possible outcomes, which is 1 to 6, are countable. Understood? Next, random variable and their probability distributions. So what is a random variable? A random variable is a variable whose value is determined by the outcome of a random experiment. So later on, we will be having an example for that. And discrete random variable takes countable values. So discrete random variable takes countable values. For example, the number of heads in coin flips. So let's say you will have to flip a coin 3 times. So your number of heads or your maximum number of heads for that would be 3. But you can also have 0, 1, 2, or 3 outcomes if you want the number of heads. So for probability distribution, it describes the likelihood of each possible outcome of a random variable. Once again, as our example, rolling a fair six-sided die. So the probability distribution for a discrete random variable x, where x is yung die roll natin or the result of our die roll, is the probability of x is equal to 1 is equal to the probability of x equal to 2, which is also equal to the probability of x is equal to 3, x is equal to 4, x is equal to 5, and x is equal to 6. Meaning the probability for having an outcome of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 are all the same, which is equal to 1 over 6. So adding all that up, having the sum of that probabilities, of all those probability, you will have 1 as the answer. So 1 over 6 plus 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 1 over 6 is equal to 1, or simply 1 over 6 times 6. It would be 1. Another example, coin tosses. So let's define the random variable x as the number of heads in 3 coin tosses. So let x is equal to the number of heads in 3 coin tosses. If you have 3 coin tosses, the total number of your possible outcome would be, again, using the counting principle, for your first toss, you'll have 2 possible outcomes. That's either head or tails. Then that goes the same for the second and the third toss. So you have 8 total possible outcomes when tossing a coin 3 times. So what are the possible outcomes for x, or what are the possible outcomes for the number of heads? So let's draw a table here. So for our sample space, SS. For a sample space, you can have head, and head. So that's 3. You can also have 2 head, tail. You can also have, considering their positions, head, tail, and head. Can also be written as tail, head. Ano yan? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we still have 4. We still have 4. So ano pang options natin? Tail, head, and then tail, head, tail, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then head, tail, and then yung all tails dito sa tail, and tail. So that's 8 possible outcomes. So the value of a random variable where x is equals to the number of heads, that would be how many heads are here? That's 3. You have 2 here. 2 din dito. This is also 2. And then 1, 1, 1, and 0. So the value of our random variable would be simply 0, 1, 2, and 3. So you don't have to write it all. No. So if there are similar values, that will be counted as 1. We have 3 ones, so you can just write it as 0, 1, 2, and 3. That's 0, 1, 2, and 3. You don't have to write it as 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3. This is enough as the answer for the number or the value of your random variable. So, yan. For example, so we'll be finding for the probability distribution for each value of x. So for x is equal to 0, meaning the probability that there will be no heads when you toss a coin 3 times, that's 1 over 8. Why 1 over 8? That's because it's the 3 tails, where the result is all tails, no heads. So that's 1 over 8. And then for the probability that there will be 1 head, that's 3 over 8. So you can see here, that's 1, 2, and 3. But you can also solve it using combination. So you have n is equals to 3, since that's 3 coin tosses, and then you're looking for, or you have to select 1 head. So that's 3 combination 1. That would also be equal to 3 over 8. And then for the probability that there are 2 heads, that's 3 over 8. So you can count it manually here in our sample space on the table I have written, or you can also simply use combination. That's 3 combination 2, which is also equal to 3. 3 combination 2, that's 3 over 8. And then for the probability of having 3 heads when you toss a coin 3 times, that's 1 over 8 also. That's 3 combination 3. Okay. You can also use combination for the first one, yung x is equals to 0, or the probability that the probability of causing a coin where the result will be no heads. That's 3 combination 0, and you'll have the answer 1. So that's the purpose of your combination for a faster solution. So you don't have to write it one by one or draw a tree diagram. No, that would be time consuming. Lalo na especially if you're taking an exam. So you have your time is limited only when taking an exam. So utilizing a combination or your solution would be very helpful. Okay? So based on our definition earlier, or the key characteristic of discrete probability distribution, the sum of your probability distribution for each random variable should be equal to 1. So having the sum of 1 over 8, 3 over 8, 3 over 8, and 1 over 8 will give us the result, or will give us the sum of 1. Meaning, our example is a discrete probability distribution. So, example, let us find the random variable first. The number of your random variable, or the value of your random variable, before finding their respective probabilities. For example 1, 2 balls are drawn in succession without replacement from an urn containing 4 red balls and 3 black balls. The possible outcomes and the value of y of the random variable y, where y is the number of red balls. So based on our problem, it is stated that y is the number of red balls. That's why let y is equal to number of red balls. And then your lowercase y or your small letter y is the value of your random variable. We're looking for the number of red balls when you draw 2 balls from an urn. So if you have 2 balls, you need 2 balls, there is a possibility that you can draw 2 red balls. There is also a possibility that you can draw a black ball first and then a red ball for the second draw. And then there is also a possibility where you can draw red first, followed by black, and then the probability or the possibility of drawing 2 black balls, meaning no red, is drawn from an urn or from your urn. So since we're counting for the number of red balls, we let y as the number of red balls. So your value of y would be 2 in this one because we're counting for the number of red balls. For this one, you have 1 here, and then 0 because there are no red balls in your sample space for this one. So basically, your answer would be 0, 1, and 2. Understood? Okay. So example number 2. Statisticians use sampling plans to either accept or reject batches for lots of material. Suppose one of the sampling plans involves sampling independently 10 items from a lot of 100 items in which 12 are defective. Let X be the random variable defined as the number of items found defective in the sample. So your X is the number of defective items found in your sample of 10. What values will the random assume? So your lowercase x, what's your lowercase x? So the problem is saying that you will get 10 sample out of 100. What are the possible values where out of those 10, there will be a defective item? So that's simply 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Why? Because there is a possibility that in having that out of those 10 samples, you can have no defective items. Meaning, when you draw from that 100 items, you will get the items that are all goods or items that has no defect. There is also a possibility that you can get out of those 10, you will choose or you can accidentally choose 1 that is defective. You can choose 2 that is defective and the 8 remaining is good. Then 3 defective, 4 defective, and so on up until 10. So that will be the values of your random variable. Next, example 3. So in this one, we will be looking for the probability distribution. Aside from looking for the value of your random variable, we will be also looking for the probability of each value. A shipment of 20 similar laptop computers to a retail outlet contains 3 that are defective. If a school makes a random purchase of 2 of these computers, find the probability distribution for the number of defectives. So let's say, or let x is equal to the number of defectives. So that's based on our problem, ano? In our problem, it is stated, or the problem is asking for the probability distribution for the number of defectives. So we let x as the number of defectives. So our total number of items would be 20. So out of those 20, let D is equal to defective. So your defective items or your defective laptops is equal to how many defective laptops are there? How many defective laptops are there based on the problem? Three. Correct. So you have 3 defective laptops. And then, let n, small letter n na lang to avoid confusion or to prevent confusion. That's small letter n for not defective. So let small letter n is not defective. So if 3 are defective from your 20 laptops, how many laptops are not defective? You have 17 laptops that are not defective. So once again, the problem is asking us to purchase 2 laptops or to choose 2 laptops. So on our sample, we can have no defective laptops. If we're lucky, no defective laptops will be chosen. So that's not defective and not defective. And we can also have one that is defective. A defective laptop first and then a not defective laptop, or it can also be the other way around. A not defective laptop first, then a defective laptop at your second draw or at your second selection. And then for the third one, you can have a laptop or both of your laptops that you will purchase are defective. So for our x, our value of x would be, there are 2 defective, there are 1 defective. Let me correct that one. So there are no defective, that's 0. Then there are 1 defective and there are 2 defective. So how will we get the probability of each value? So the probability of x is equal to 0, where x is equal to the number of defectives. Meaning, what is the probability that the school will purchase 2 laptops that are not defective? How will we solve that? So there are 2 possible solutions for that. What are those? Secret. Walaan nyo. So there are two possible options. First, using our discussion last week, using combination. And then the other one is using rule of multiplication, specifically rule 2. Can you recall that? Do you still remember that? So, let's solve it. So first, let's solve it using the sequential method or the rule of multiplication, specifically rule 2, the dependent one. So here, the probability that there are no defective laptops being purchased is 0. So, meaning if there are no defective laptops, where will you choose? If there are no defective laptops, what would be your numerator? What would be your numerator if there are no defective laptops? Anyone? So where will you choose? If there are no defective laptops, of course, you will be choosing from the laptops that are not defective. So the laptops that are not defective is how many? 17. So you have 17 laptops that are not defective. So that's where will you choose from. So that's 17 over n, your n. So your n is still 20 at your first selection. How about on the second selection? You already have chosen one. So how many possible options are still there for you? 16. So you have 16. And then your number of n would also be so you will also have so your n would also be what do you call that? Will be subtracted by 1. So that's 19. So the answer would be yun, 19 na lang. So there are 19 possible options since you have already chosen one from your sample, from your total sample. So that's why it was subtracted by 1. So from your first option, you have still 17 options and you have 20 laptops all in all. So the 17 is the laptops that are not defective. And then if you already chose one from the first event, there are still 16 remaining laptops and your total laptops would also be subtracted by 1. So you will have 19 remaining laptops available. So that's why it's 16 over 19. And the answer for that would be 68 over 95. For our alternative solution, you can use combination. How will you use combination? For your combination, since you will not choose from the defective laptops, you have 3 defective laptops and you won't be selecting from that. So that's 3 combination. 3 combination what? You won't choose from the defective laptops. That's 3 combination 0, since you won't choose. And then you will choose from the not defective ones. So that's 17 combination 2. Since the problem is asking us to choose 2 laptops or to purchase 2 laptops. And then the total number of the possible outcomes would be 20 combination 2. So as you can see, that's the same way of solving the deck of cards, the probability of having green balls, red balls, from our previous discussion. So typing this or inputting this on your calcu, what would be the answer? The answer should be the same. Should still be 68 over 95. Okay, so it's still 68. The answer is still 68 over 95. Understood?
Yes po.
Did I make myself clear? Okay? Okay. Sige. How about for the probability of x is equal to 1? Or the probability that there is a one defective laptop? So again, you will first choose the laptop that is not defective. So you still have 17 and a complete possible options. And then after that, you will choose a laptop that is defective. So how many laptops are defective? 3. So 3 defective laptops. So your numerator would be 3 over, what's your denominator? Would it still be 20? Yun. So that's correct. The denominator will be 19 since you have already chosen one from the first event. So 17 over 20 times 3 over 19. Would that be the end of our solution? Yes or no? What do you think? Is that it? Would that be our answer? Yes. Unfortunately, no. That is not the answer yet. We still have to multiply it by 2. Why? We have to consider their position or their order. First, when we selected the defective first, then the not defective. And then the other one is when we choose the not defective first and then the defective one. That's why you have to multiply it by 2. So in the sequential method or in the rule of multiplication method, you have to consider their position. That's why you have to multiply it in the number of ways you can arrange them. So that is the crucial part in solving when you use the multiplication rule. Okay? Remember that if you're going to use the multiplication rule. But if you're going to use the combination rule, then you don't have to worry about its position. Because we all know that position is not important or is not being considered in combination. So 17 over 20 times 3 over 19 times 2, the answer would be 51 over 190. 51 over 190. So for the solution or for the other solution, let's use combination. So for combination, in choosing for the not defective, that's 17 combination. How many laptops are you going to choose for the not defective? Yun, correct, that's 1. Multiplied by, for the not defective, what would be our solution for the not defective? Yun, correct, that's 3 combination 1. Over your total pa din. So our total is still 20 combination 2. Then solving that using your calcu, what would be the answer? Yun, 51 over 190. Okay, that's 51 over 90. So it's still the same. Okay? So how about for the probability that your chosen laptop are both defective? How unlucky? Ano? So let's let's use the combination na lang. So if the two are defective, then where will you get that two? What would be our working solution, our working what would be our solution for that? That's 3 combination 2. 3 combination 2. If you want, you can still write 17 combination 0. Because, meaning, you won't have to choose on the not defective ones. So that's 17 combination 0. Or, it's you can also write 3 combination 2 only because 17 combination 0 is 1. So it's up to you on how will you present your solution. And then our total would still be 20 combination 2. The answer for that would be, so here we have 68 over 95. 51 over 190, and for the last one, you have 3 over 190. 3 over 190. It's 3 over 190. What would be the sum of our probability for each, for the value of each random variable? Would it still be equal to 1? Try to check it. So adding 68 over 95 plus 51 over 190 and 3 over 190 would still result to 1. So meaning your random variable is discrete, or our problem is a discrete probability distribution. Next example. In a semiconductor manufacturing process, 2 wafers from a lot are tested. Each wafer is classified as pass or fail. Assume that the probability that a wafer passed the test is 0.8 and that wafers are independent. If the discrete random variable x represents the number of wafers passed the test, find the discrete probability distribution of random variable x. So let's start by having let x. Let x is equal to what is stated in our problem. What's our let x? Sige nga. Based on the problem, what's let x? What's our x? X is equal to, sige, try to analyze it on your own. Because that would be our problem when you're solving it on your own. We're having a hard time in analyzing the problem. Sige, what would be our x for that? Anyone? Let x is equal to the number of what? Still there? So let x is equal to what? It's stated in the problem. No. Let x equal to no. Still there, guys? You're still listening?
Numbers of wafers past the test.
Yun, the number of wafers that passed the test. Number of wafers. Why is it important to determine the x? Because that's that's your basis for finding the value. So number of wafers that passed the test. Then the probability that your wafer has passed is equal to yung P. Let's denote the passed as P na lang. Okay? So the probability that the wafers has passed the test, or the probability that it has passed, is equal to, it is also stated or given in your problem. That's 0.8. How about the probability that your wafers failed the test? Okay, that's 0.2. That's 1 minus 0.8 or 0.2. So, your rule of subtraction. And then, in our sample, since the problem is asking us for 2 wafers from a lot, you will have to choose 2 wafers from your sample. So, at first, you can select 2 wafers that are failed. So in your first selection, you chose a wafer that failed the test, and the other one is the wafer that also failed the test for your second selection. And then you have also a wafer that has passed the test first and then failed afterwards. And then you have also a wafer that has failed the test first. And then you have selected a wafer that has passed the test after. And then you can also have a wafer which has passed the test for both of your selection. So you will be counting the number of wafers that passed the test. Imagine if you've got the wrong representation for your x. What if you've assigned x as the number of wafers that failed the test, and then you'll count this as 2? So your answer would be wrong. So that's why it's important to identify your x. What should you count, or what value should you count in your representation? So we have to count the number of wafers that passed the test. So here, none of the wafers have passed the test, so that's 0. And then for here, there is a 1 passing wafer, and then 2 wafers that has passed the test. So how can we get the probability for that? So just by multiplying the given, because the probability, the given for us is already probability. So the probability that we have no passing wafers from the test is equal to 0.2 times 0.2. So that's 0.04. And then the probability that one wafer has passed the test That's 0.2, the probability of a wafer that failed, and the probability that the wafer has passed the test, 0.8. Is that already the answer? No. Okay. You still have to multiply it to 2 because you have to consider their order or the arrangement of your selection. Then the answer for that would be 0.32. And then for the probability that both wafers have passed the test, that's 0.8 times 0.8, which is equal to 0.64. Yeah. So that's the probability distribution for your random variable x. Understood? Question so far?
Wala po.
None, okay. So let's proceed with the next example. Or the next topic pala. Wala na palang so the example. So next, the cumulative distribution function. So for the cumulative distribution function, it is the probability that the random variable x is less than or equal to a certain value. Once again, okay, let's discuss the formula first pala. So f of x is equal to the probability of x less than or equal to x. Or is it also, or it is also equal to the summation of f of t where t is greater than or less than where t is less than or equal to x. So again, for example, let's use the die as our example for the illustration. So for a fair die rule, the CDF for x up to 4 is f of 4 is equals to the probability of x is less than or equal to 4. Meaning, we're finding the probability that when you roll a die, the result would be less than 4. So less than 4 or equal to 4. That means that when you roll a die, what is the probability that you can get either 1, 2, 3, or 4? Or any of the 4? So what's the probability for that? That's 4 over 6 or 2 over 3. You will simply add the probability of x is equal to 1. That's 1 over 6 plus the probability of x equal to 2. 1 over 6 also. The probability of x equal to 3. 1 over 6. And then the probability of x equal to 4. 1 over 6 plus 1 over 6 plus 1 over 6 plus 1 over 6 is equal to 4 over 6 or 2/3. So when you roll a die and you're looking for the result or for a result that is less than 4, you have a 66.67% chance of having a result of 4 or less than 4 when you roll your die. Later on, let's have an example for that so that we can understand it better. So for the expected values of random variables, the expected value or simply the mean of a random variable is the long-term average or the center of its probability distribution. So the formula for that is E of x is equal to the summation of x multiplied by the probability of x. Let's define x as the outcome of a fair die roll. So your outcome of a fair die roll is equal to x. So your x is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then the expected value of x is the weighted average of all possible outcomes weighted by their probabilities. So common knowledge na for us. It's a common knowledge for us that the probability when you roll a die for the result is 1 over 6. So you'll multiply it by the outcome. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that's your possible outcome. So 1 multiplied by 1 over 6 plus 2 times 1 over 6 plus 3 times 1 over 6 until you have 6 times 1 over 6 is equal to 3.5. This means that the expected value of a die roll is 3.5, which is the average you would expect over many rolls. So when you roll a die for, let's say, you roll your die 5 times, try to get the number of outcomes for every roll. For example, for your first roll, you get 2. For the second roll, you get 3. For the third roll, you get 6. For the first roll, you get 1. And then for the fifth roll, you get 1 again. So try to add it up and divide it by 5. Then let's see if the value for that would be 3.5. So try it na lang if you can. So that's simply the meaning behind it. Over a many roll of die, your expected average or the average you would expect over many rolls is equal to 3.5. So let's have, for example, for the cumulative distributive function or for the cumulative distribution function. Suppose that a base production of 850 manufactured parts contains 50 parts that do not conform to customer requirements. So 50 parts are non-conforming. 2 parts are selected at a random without replacement from the batch. Let the random variable x equal the number of non-conforming parts in the sample. What is the cumulative distribution function of x? So let's have our parameters first. When solving a problem, it's crucial to identify your parameters first. So our parameters, let x is equal to the number of non-conforming parts. And sina lang for non-conforming parts. Excuse me. And then we have a total number of manufactured parts, which is 850. And then out of 850, the non-conforming parts are 50. And then the conforming parts are 800. So in our sample, when you choose 2, we can have both samples that are conformant, one sample that is conformant, and the other one is non-conformant, or we can say that you have selected non-conformant first and then conformant for the second selection. And then there can also be, you can also select the manufactured parts that are both non-conformant. So our X for that, for the number of non-conformant parts, so you have 0 here. Since both are conformant, then you have 1 here and then you have 2 here. So to find the cumulative distribution function of X, we still have to find the probability distribution of each value. So the probability of X is equal to 0, or the probability that you will choose manufactured parts that are both conformant is equal to, let's use combination na lang, ano. But you can also, we can also solve it using the rule of multiplication. But let's use combination. So for X is equal to 0, you have 50 combination 0, because you will choose from the conformant ones. So your conformant is 800 combination 2 divided by 850 combination 2. So what would be our answer for that? $50 combination 0 times 800 combination 2 over 850 combination 2. In decimal na lang. That's 886 or 8857 for decimal places. How about the probability where X is equal to 1? Using combination, what would be our solution for that? So choosing for the non-conformant, we'll choose 1, and then we'll also choose 1 for the non-conformant part. That's 800 combination 1 over 850 combination 2. What's the answer for that?
0.11.
0.11. 0.11 exactly? For decimal places nga. Zero 0.1109. For P is equal to, or the probability of X is equal to 2. That would be 800 combination 0. That would be 800 combination 0 times 50 combination 2 over 850 combination 2. The answer would be 0.0039. Compare it in your module. In your module, they use the multiplication rule. Page, do you have your modules beside you? That's page... That's page 36. Yun. .0033.
Sir, hindi pa 0.0034.
0.034 nga. Sorry. 0.034 pala. Yan. Thank you for correcting. That's 0.0034. Yun. So, we already have the probability distribution for the value of each random variable. Let's put it here. That's 0.8857, 0.1109, and 0.0034. So by the formula that I have shown you earlier, let's say f of 0 first. F of 0 is equal to the probability of x less than or equal to 0. Meaning our range would be the probability of x should be less than or equal to 0. Since there is no value less than 0, we can say that your f of 0 is equal to 0.8857. Then for f of 1, the probability of x less than or equal to 1. Which means that we have to add the probability of x is equal to 1 and the probability of x is equal to 0. Because the probability of x less than or equal to 1 states that our range should be less than 1 or equal to 1. So that's 0 and 1. X is equal to 0 plus the probability of x equal 1. So that's 0.8857 plus 0.1109. What is the answer for that? 0.9966? Yeah. So as you can observe, basically, the cumulative distribution function is adding the probabilities of your range depending on what is being asked. So, for example, f of 1, finding for the f of 1, the probability of x less than or equal to 1. So your range is the values that are from 1 and below. So that's 0 and 1. And then for the probability of f or the CDF for 2 or f of 2, that's p x less than or equal to 2. So you'll just have to add the probability of 0, probability of x equal to 1, and the probability of x equal to 2. So that's 0.8857 plus 0.1109 plus 0.0034. This is equal to approximately 1 yan. Ano? Di man exact, not exact, but approximately 1. And the decimal point would be insignificant na. Ano? That's 1. Sakto? Or 1.0005?
Opo, 1.
1, okay. Yun. So that's your cumulative distribution function. Questions so far? Or are there any clarifications?
Wala po.
Okay. Hey, let's proceed with binomial distribution. So for the binomial distribution, the binomial distribution is defined as the models, the number of successes in independent trials with probability P of success. So the formula for the binomial distribution or our probability mass function for the binomial distribution is equal to P is equal, the probability of X is equal to K is equal to n combination k p raised to a multiplied by 1 minus p raised to n minus k. It can also be written as this one. N combination r, p raised to r times q raised to n minus r, where your q is equals to 1 minus p. So for the formula, n is equal to the number of trials or your total number of trials, and then p is the probability of success. Then n is the number of successes you are calculating the probability for. Now let's have the example later on for the illustration or for the application of our formula. Next, the Poisson distribution. For the Poisson distribution, we have models the number of events in a fixed interval of time or space. The probability mass function for the Poisson distribution is the probability of x is equal to k, which is equal to lambda times k raised to e. Lambda raised to k multiplied by e raised to negative lambda over k factorial. Next, our parameters are as follows. Your lambda is equal to the average rate of occurrence. If you're looking at your module, your lambda or the average rate of occurrence is represented as mu. And then k is x. So at your book, the formula is mu raised to x multiplied by e raised to negative x. E raised to negative mu pala. E raised to negative mu over x factorial. So familiar naman with the Euler constant, you know where to find that in your calculator. Do you know where to find the Euler constant or E in your calculators? Alam? Do you know where to find it? Sige, walang sumagot. So I expect you all know where to find E on your calculator or the Euler constant. Okay, for the binomial distribution, example, suppose a die is tossed 5 times. What is the probability of getting exactly 2 fours? So using the formula, P x equal to k is equal to n combination k p raised to k multiplied by 1 minus p raised to n minus k. So for our answer in our example, you have n. What's our n for the problem? Sige nga. So that's the number of trials. So you have tossed the die how many times? Five, So meaning your n is equal to 5. And then, what's your k for that? Your k is equal to 2. So that's the number of successes because you're looking for exactly 2 fours or 4 in your die. So what's the probability in getting a 4 in a fair die? It's not given, so you have to find the probability of having a 4 in your die. What's the probability for that? 1/6. Okay? So substituting the values, you'll have P x is equal to k. Let's write it like this. So that would be n combination k or 5 combination 2 times the probability, which is 1 over 6. 1 over 6 raised to k. That's 2. Times 1 minus 1 over 6 raised to n minus k. So n minus k, 5 minus 2, that's 3. Correct ako na, no? So what would be the answer for that? 5 combination 2. 5 combination 2 times 1 over 6. Ilan?
0.1608.
Yun, 0.1608. That's 0.1608. Yun. That's our answer for example 1. So that's binomial distribution. And then for our second sample, that is an example of the cumulative binomial distribution. So let's solve it. Excuse. So for the cumulative distribution, binomial distribution, so it's the same formula. You just have to add the summation here. You know where to find the summation formula in your calculators or where to click it? Sige, so yun. So for for the example for the cumulative probability distribution or the cumulative binomial distribution rather, so we have n is equal to 100. And then our k is equal to 45. Or hindi, it's 0 to 45. You have a varying number of k because the problem is asking for the probability of obtaining 55 or fewer heads, meaning 45 or below. Understood? So yun. That's your k from 0 to 45. So that would be your limit for your summation. And then our probability for a toss of coin, if you want to have a head in a toss of coin, is still 0.5 or 1/2. So in putting this in your formula, that's the summation where x is equal to 0 up until 45. Then substituting the values, that's 100 combination alpha x, because the calculus will solve the values from 0 to 45. So that's 100 combination x times the probability, which is 0.5. 0.5
Meron pa daw walang module sa inyo?
raised to x.
Sinabi mo, bimidterm na.
The probability of 0.5 raised to x multiplied by 1 minus 0.5. raised to 100 minus x. What po, sir? What would be the answer? What would be the answer for that? Do you know how to input the summation on your calcu?
Opo, sir.
Okay, sige. Good. Sige, try to input it and give me the answer for that one.
Now, sana.
Zero point 1841. Sabi ni ma'am.
Wait lang, I'll be back in 7:20. CR break muna if you have to use DCR. Okay, let's proceed. So for the problem, or for example problem for the Poisson distribution, the average number of homes sold by the Acme Realty Company is 2 homes per day. So the average rate of occurrence, or your lambda, is equal to equal to 2. What is the probability that exactly 3 homes will be sold tomorrow? So that's your K, or the actual number of events. Your number of actual events is equal to 3. So the solution would be direct substitution. So how just to input it in your calculus. So that's 2 raised to 3 multiplied by e raised to negative 2 over 3 factorial. So the answer for that, substituting the values, 2 raised to 3 multiplied to the Euler constant e raised to negative 2 over 3 factorial. The answer is 0.1084. And then for the last example, for the Poisson distribution, so this is a sample of a cumulative Poisson distribution. So this is just the same as the cumulative binomial distribution. The difference is that their formula, but you just have to add the additional summation. So that's the summation of the average number of lions seen on a 1-day safari is 5. So average number of lions is 5. So this means that your lambda is equal to 5. This is your lambda, or your mu, as stated in the module. What is the probability that tourists will see fewer than 4 lions on the next 1-day safari? So the question is the probability that the tourists will see fewer than 4. What does it mean? What's your limitations for that? Your x would be from 0 to from 0 to 4? Correct? Di kaya. From 0 to 3 lang. Correct, from 0 to 3. Kasi we're asking for fewer than 4. Meaning 4 is not included, okay? But thank you for trying the 4. For reacting pala for 4. So yun, 0 to 3 lang 3 is not included since the problem is asking us fewer than 4. So your limit would be 0 to 3. And then you just have to leave k as x. So that's lambda raised to x multiplied by the Euler constant raised to negative lambda, or your 5, over x factorial. And then the calcu will do its magic and solve the problem for you. So that's 5 raised to x. 5 raised to x multiplied by e raised to negative 5 over x factorial. So what would be the answer? Try to input it in your own, just to experience inputting the solution on the calcu. So guys, bear with it. That's the last problem for today. Try to put it in your calcu and let the calcu solve for you. What's the answer? Five raised to alpha x multiplied by Euler constant raised to negative 5 over x factorial. From 0 to 3. What's the answer? Yun. Kaya nang bahala kung sasagot. Input it in your calcube and find for the answer. Yan. Find the answer for that na lang. And 0.22. Kulang. Baka may maling pindot lang. And then I suggest to solve other problems from your module, and if you still have the time, practice your problem solving skills, search problems in the internet so that you can how do you call that? So that it will help you in practicing your analyzation skills, because that's the hard part in solving probability. You have to analyze the problem first for you to be able to solve the problem correctly. So yun. And practice will help improve your analyzation skills. Questions, concerns, clarifications? None? Okay, sige. Reminder, did your class choose option 2 for our quiz? Or for the option where you will be reporting? If yes, then let's have your group next week. Let's decide whether you will be grouped by me or you will choose your own group mates. And then after that, other reminders. The coverage of your midterm exam would be from chapter 1 up until joint probability distribution. Next week, I'll be discussing 2 more topics. That's continuous probability distribution. And then joint probability. So those topics, those 2 last topics will be included in your midterm exams. As for your quiz, I'll try to check it this week. Hopefully, because we're very busy at my work. But I hope that I can find time to check your papers by next week. And if we still have time, I'll try to discuss the answers from your quiz. So let's have the answers. Let's discuss the answer so that you can know what are the problems that made it difficult for you, or so that you can learn the solution for the problems that was given on your quiz. And the other reminders. Yun. That's it. Question or concerns?
Sir, present po.
Present. Sige, those students that are late or that mga hindi natawag earlier, please raise your virtual hand na lang so I can put present on your attendance. Isa lang? Miss Atchan, isa lang? Okay. If you don't have any concerns, questions, or clarifications, that would be our lesson for today. See you all next week.
Thank you po.
Thank you po, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you po.
Thank you po.